Hello everyone, welcome to HW News. The farmers' protest has been going on the borders of Delhi for more than 2 months now. The farmers are protesting the 3 farm laws passed by the Modi government and are demanding a complete repeal. Even after 11 rounds of talks, the deadlock between the farmers and the government has not ended. But what was the highlight of the protest was how the government responded to the protesters in the initial days and even now. From using brute force, lathi charge, tear gas, water cannons, to using spikes, nails, concertina wires, the role of police and how the government responded to the protest using the police came under question. We have been constantly raising this point, and we thought who better to talk on the subject than former Super Cop Mr. Julio Ribeiro. Let us hear what he had to say about this entire issue. So the way Modi government has reacted to farmers' protest, what do you think about this? We have also seen this during anti-CAA protest as well, that the police, brute police force is used on the protesters who are peacefully protesting. Do you think that this is a pattern of this government, the way the governments deal with the protesters?
You know, the way the government probably feels that they should do a shock treatment for each case. Now, suppose you have this even a thing like your COVID showdown, the lockdown. When they announced it, they said in another 4 hours the lockdown starts. Now you take everybody by surprise. Probably they forgot about the migrants. The migrants had a very rough time, but they had not thought about them. They had not thought about the poor people who are working for a living in other parts of India, and they were left high and dry. They had nothing to eat. They had nowhere to stay, so they went trudging around. So it was done in a shock treatment, like demonetization. Demonetization, of course, they have to keep secret. But so I wouldn't blame them for keeping that the secret. But generally, they like to make a big show, a dramatic effect. And that is what perhaps has got them down, because probably the farm laws may have been necessary, but to modernize agriculture, the way they did it, the way they went about it, they just bypassed parliament procedures. Even the the counting of votes in the Rajya Sabha was denied. It was done by voice vote. So it is really, I think, that is what has got them down. So they don't know what to do, because taking it back, I mean, the farmers are insisting, might mean a loss of face, but probably they will have to undergo that at some time, because otherwise this is going totally out of hand. This is the biggest problem, biggest drawback, what is that, a calamity that this government has to face.
Okay. So we saw when the protest was beginning in the month of November, when protesters started walking from Punjab and Haryana to Delhi, we have seen how the Haryana police, how the Delhi police tried to stop them with water cannons. There were tear gas used, lathi charge used. So the first reaction from the government is to use the force. Do you think that the government's response could have been better to the protest?
I am absolutely certain that they have miscalculated, and first of all, they blame the farmers themselves of being Khalistanis and being anti-national. That was very, very stupid on their part. I don't know why they made so many mistakes. And then, of course, they dug up the roads and what have you. Now they have put spikes on the road, so that's ensuring that nobody gets into Delhi. And how long are you going to do it? Because Shikayat says that you wait till 2nd of December, 2nd of October, Gandhiji's birthday. That is rather far off. And so we are going to see a very, very sorry kind of protest over here. Gone totally out of control.
Correct. So what could have been the police's response to
So
the
government
protest?
control. Yeah.
So my question was, instead of using brute force, what could have been the response of the government so that there would not have been a law and order situation, and also there wasn't a force used on the protesters?
No, the government, I mean, I'm quite sure they didn't want, they had the good of the farmers at heart, and I'm prepared to believe that. There's no need for them to fight with the farmers like they're fighting with journalists at the moment. But the farmers are the persons you can't displease. No government would want to displease farmers. And so I'm certain about that. And the farmers also understand that if they get indulge in violence, they lose public sympathy. So both sides would like it to be done peacefully. But the government perhaps thought that other opposition parties or some other people are behind this farmers' protest, which is not so. And that is the mistake they have made. Because they suspect some kind of fifth column everywhere. And they make that mistake very often.
Okay, so the Republic Day violence, the government is comparing it with Capitol Hill violence that happened in the US. Uh, but a lot of questions are also being raised on the way the government had prepped up the security ahead of Kisan's tractor rally that day. The Red Fort, how were the protesters allowed to breach the Red Fort is a big question. There wasn't any security cover at that point of time when the farmers, when the protesters actually went inside. Do you think that government could have handled that situation? This could have been avoided.
You know, there are three possible answers to this. The one is that the farmers among themselves had quarreled, in which case that would have been known earlier, so this might not be there. Then there is also the fact that these uh, agencies like the Seek for Justice, who might have thought that this is a good way of entering the political arena in Punjab and resuscitating the old Khalistani era. So that is another one that has still to be investigated. In fact, the government itself said that look, we are warning you, there are foreign agencies who are involved in this. So they had warned the farmers also. Farmers were quite certain that they were in a position to resist that. So there is a third possible, I don't know which it is, whether the government itself thought that to take the farmers off its back, they might want to use some tricks. And that also is a possibility, but it has to be investigated. And the government investigates itself. So if it is the third alternative, we are not going to get any information. But if it is the Seek for Justice or some other extraneous force that is used, then of course the government would be able to find out.
So the Punjab Chief Minister had already said that if the stalemate between farmers organizations and the government, central government continues for long, then this could be exploited by the anti-national elements. As a former DGP of Punjab who has served in the state at the peak of militancy, Khalistan militancy, what do you think about this?
You see, the Khalistani militancy has taught the farmers and the people of Punjab a lesson. I don't think those who are inclined to even tacitly support the militants will support them again. But there are foreign people abroad, there is a gentleman called Gurpatwant Singh Pannu, who was an American lawyer based in New York. So he has his roots in Punjab and he has set up the Sikhs for Justice. It's got a lot of traction in the foreign, in Germany, in Canada, in US, and in England. But in India, he has got very few youth in Punjab. And that is what he wants to sort of wrestle up. And that, so the government, if it makes too many mistakes, might help even this agitation to start again. They must guard against. They must be very, very careful, and I hope they are thinking about it.
Okay, so my last question. After this farmers' protest, we have seen that sedition cases are also being filed against the sitting MPs and the journalists who are talking about farmers' protests. The government is going out and telling Twitter to, ban the accounts of people. There has been a case filed against the creator of the document that Greta Thunberg had shared on Twitter, and the government is calling it an international conspiracy. What do you think about this?
No, this is rather they're showing signs of nervousness. Now, about international conspiracy, I told you about the Six for Justice. That angle they must investigate. That whether they have something to do with that toolkit, I don't know. But certainly, investigation is required about that one particular agency. Otherwise, to give that Mrs. Gandhi used to talk about the foreign hand. So now again we have talk about foreign hand. I don't think they should be nervous in this manner and show those kinds of nervousness. So some of the way that we have reacted shows clear signs of nervousness. For example, that Rihanna, I mean, she doesn't know anything about. If we show a map of India, perhaps she won't be able to point out where is Punjab or anything. She must have been asked by someone. And she had the million tweet followers, so perhaps that is what they took advantage of. But I don't think there was need to react in the way that the government has reacted. I read a very interesting article by our historian Ramchandra Go. It's worth reading anyway. Okay. About this matter.
Sir, one last question. I'm sorry I'm taking too much time, but I just want to know if you would have been at the helm of handling this protest, ensuring law and order in Delhi today, what would have been your plan of action?
You see, you can't make those kind of comparisons. The days are quite different. The politicians in my day were quite different. Politicians today are different. Really make that. Now today, Mr. Amit Shah is in charge. He's a different kettle of fish. So you have to. I feel sorry for the officers in charge today. That is all I can say.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir, for your time. Thank you so much.
जब हमने HW न्यूज नेटवर्क की नींव डाली थी, तब हमने ये ठाना था कि न्यूज और इंफॉर्मेशन ये लोगों तक फ्री पहुंचनी चाहिए, मुफ्त पहुंचनी चाहिए, और हम आज भी ये वचन पर कायम हैं। पर जैसे आपको मालूम है, न्यूज चैनल चलाने के लिए पैसों की जरूरत है, तो हमको सबको न्यूज फ्री पहुंचाने के लिए कुछ मेंबर्स और कुछ सपोर्टर्स की जरूरत है।
जी हां, मेरी आप सबसे गुजारिश कि आप सब HW न्यूज हिंदी की मेंबरशिप को ग्रहण करें। ये सदस्यता स्वैच्छिक है, यानी कि आप अपनी मर्जी के मुताबिक इसे ग्रहण कर सकते हैं, क्योंकि अगर आप इसे ग्रहण नहीं भी करते तब भी आपको HW न्यूज हिंदी के तमाम कार्यक्रम मिलते रहेंगे। मगर अगर आप चाहते हैं कि आजाद न्यूज जो है वो मजबूत हो, अगर आप चाहते हैं कि वो न्यूज जो सत्ता से सवाल पूछती है वो मजबूत हो, तो जरूर बने HW न्यूज हिंदी के सदस्य।
जो लोग हमारे 89 रुपए प्रति महीने वाले कार्यक्रम से जुड़ेंगे, उनके लिए HW न्यूज का बैच विश मिलेगा। साथ ही साथ उन लोगों को हमारे एक्सक्लूसिव पोल्स में भी शामिल होने का मौका मिलेगा। इसके अलावा हमारा जो दूसरा मेंबरशिप कार्यक्रम है वो 199 रुपीस प्रति महीने का है, यानी कि 199 रुपए प्रति महीने। और इस प्रोग्राम में हमारे जो मेंबर्स हैं उन्हें 99 रुपए के प्रोग्राम वाले सभी चीजें तो मिलेंगी। इसके अलावा बिजनेस से जुड़ी हुई बातें भी हम करेंगे। हमारे एक्सपर्ट अखिलेश भार्गव से आप बिजनेस से जुड़े हुए अपने सवाल भी पूछ सकते हैं। हम उम्मीद करेंगे कि आप इस निष्पक्ष पत्रकारिता की राह में हमें पूरी तरह से योगदान देंगे।